So a few things that you can add just for comfort. You don't want to get too caught up in this because you want to be efficient with your taping as well. In terms of you have probably a few players to tape and you want to get it done quickly. But a little thing that can make a big difference for comfort for players is just using a little bit of the Hyperfix on the front of the ankle. So just lifting that toe up. So this will just help avoid getting any tape cuts. You can definitely do that just with the rigid tape, but you'll have some Hyperfix available and you'll have the rigid tape available. Some players you can train them up and they can apply these themselves before they come over. The one at the back I would do if I'm going to do a heel lock, which I will show you guys, but not everyone will get a heel lock. So when you're taping, the starting position is I try and get them to put themselves in plantar grade, so sort of 90 degrees, because the movement we're trying to reduce is inwards and into plantar flexion. So that's the position where they're going to roll their ankle. So if we can start them in a more dorsiflex position, that's ideal. What we're going to do with the taping, and apologies for the hair.
Oh, it's fine.
Is we're going to start with an anchor around the base of the shin. Not too tight, just nice and loose. That's our starting point. A couple of things we want to be aware of is, particularly on the lateral side, which if you just bring your other foot up for a moment so everyone can see, base of fifth metatarsal, you don't want to tape over that. So you want to keep the tape behind that, which you'll see once we finish taping and once you guys have a go. So we've got our anchor, our starting position. Then we can start with our stirrups. Doesn't really matter what you call these, but this is what people will kind of refer to them as. And you're just running from one side to the other. I'll normally do 3 of these and I'll just crisscross slightly. So I'll just overlap half of the back of that one to half of the front of this one. And then I'll go half of the front to half of the back. Okay, so that's our stirrups. So we've originally got a bit of side to side movement. The next element we put in with a standard ankle taping is called a 6. So sort of stirrups and 6s is what people talk about. There's 2 ways to do this. The way I like to do it is I like to start across the front and come up underneath. But probably the more traditional way to do it is to start on one side, come underneath, and then pull up and across. So that's probably how you'll see it done more often. I prefer the way I do it just because I feel like I get a better direction and a better position when I do that. We can then do one the other way. And then from a standing ankle taping point of view, we'll lock that off, and that's a standard stirrups and 6s. Some people will like 2 6s each way. I do 2 lateral, 1 medial, depending on the ankle. So that's like a nice standard ankle for someone that doesn't need a huge amount of stability or just has a standard ankle sprain.
Feels pretty strong.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it will lose its stability.
I can like barely move it.
Yeah, once you get moving though, and you start putting force through it, it will change a lot.
Yeah.
I think the evidence says that ankles taping sort of loses its stability in like 15-20 minutes or something. It's not that long. So if you've got an injury, we do want it to be quite stable. I'm going to show you a heel lock as well, which will kind of lock it up further. So some people will request this. Same starting position. You can do 1 lateral and 1 medial. So for a lateral heel lock, we're going to start sort of a little bit higher up. And what we're doing here is we're coming down, around the back, up underneath, and across the front. So again, these are all in those videos. This video as well will be made available. So that's our lateral heel lock, and then medial heel lock, coming down, around the calcaneus, underneath, up, and across the front. Okay, now that will feel pretty locked up as well. So lock it off, nice and gently. And that's our stirrups and stitches plus a heel lock. You can see you get this little crisscross at the back. That's why I put that little bit of white bit there, so there's no tape cuts. Same thing at the front. You can see that's where there's a bit of crisscross. And for his lateral ankle now, he's pretty restricted into that position. Okay. Have a stand up and just a little walk around.